every company is different, and selling a business solution to a company that talks about their relationship with their customers is tricky. And the way we chose to do it is to basically provide, a higher level of abstraction around the concept of customer journey.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. This episode is powered by J Ventures, a community-driven VC fund in Silicon Valley, in partnership with Lomitech, and sponsored by Homeward Ventures, Hippo Insurance, Upwest, Hillel at Stanford, Leap, and Birthright Excel. Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Today, I'm with Guy Nirpaz, a Silicon Valley-based entrepreneur and the CEO of Totango, the leading customer success solution. He is a pioneer in the customer success field and is a well-regarded industry speaker and community contributor. Guy is also the author of The Definitive Guide to Customer Success and established the Customer Success Summit. He's passionate about people and technology and has dedicated his career to improving the way in which business is done through innovation. Thank you for coming here, Guy. Quite a journey in customer success. You've been a part of some other phenomenal organizations like Gigaspaces and IBM, but really, the last 12 years of being a market leader in the customer success industry with thousands of customers, some of the top companies that are customer oriented, looking at a one-stop shop for customer success journeys, pretty phenomenal. And especially given that, how I saw the last few years unfold. I've been hearing customer success more and more. About 10 years ago, I didn't hear too much about it, but you already had founded Totango. And so today it's a no-brainer, but what I'm curious about is more the beginning of the journey and some of those insights and feelings that led you to embark on this crazy path. And so, Guy, thank you very much for being here. I'm excited to pick your brain.
Absolutely. Sure. So the beginning, so we decided we were going to do something new, and we were exploring kind of key areas. And one of the areas that were exploding was SaaS and subscription, on the heels of AWS and so forth. And we've decided that after a few years, many years in the infrastructure layers, let's focus on application. And the area we want to tackle is the new relationship between companies and their customers. Because it was clear that the recurring revenue model, subscription as you go, and the need to actually host your service and provide high quality service delivery puts a lot of effort on the vendor to create value to their customers.
Sure.
And and I remember back in the day, I was talking to one of the previous CEO that I worked for, very big company, public at the time, and asked him about the need to focus on customer delivering value to customers. And he said, truly, it was never our, core motivation and investment. We made sure that we market and sell and then support. And from that point onwards, it's not our problem, it's the customer's problem. And he thought that this entire business is not going to work because of this mindset. But we thought that the mindset has to change, right? It's, if customer have such an easy way to switch to an alternative, it's on the vendor to make sure that the reason in which they sign up in the first place is being delivered. So value is being delivered. So that's the initial thinking of customer success.
So the change here, or what I'm understanding, is that if before we were at a time where very few companies were able to provide a solution for a given problem, and therefore once they market and sell, it's sort of on the customer's burden to figure out how to use and how to retain themselves, right? It happened naturally. Today, with various competitors in every domain and various solutions for every problem, now is where the customer success really kicks in these last 10, 15 years, where you actually have to keep selling them even once they're already sold.
Yeah, absolutely. So they just got to remember that back in the days, it was very expensive to buy software, right? And implementation took a very long time. So
got it. Yes.
The main decision was the purchasing decision. Now that it's very, relatively inexpensive both to buy and implement, it's the power shifted dramatically into the hands of the customer. Subscription as well is a business model that provides more value to the customer than to the company, because back in the day, the company would collect all the money up front. Now you got to work for your money over time. So that creates a whole different dynamics that requires companies to think differently. It forces companies to think
Sure.
customers first, right? So outside in versus inside out. And that leads to a whole host of challenges that this is what we set up to solve for companies.
And so as you're building out to Tango and and I'm looking, 30,000 feet at this challenge, you know that you want to solve, you know that you want to solve this issue for customer success. You know that you want to solve for customer journeys and to bring all these thousands of solutions to the modern world where they're retaining customers through data-driven decisions. How do you pinpoint exactly how to do that? Because there's a wide range of tools that you can provide them. At the end, you do end up providing a generalized tool that encompasses a lot of their needs. But how do you sort of pick and choose which ones?
Yeah. So our core, while competitors looked at the problem differently, our core was the challenge is the relationship, right, where you have to deliver value. But the advantage is that once everything moves to the cloud, you've got tons of information about your customer. So you're not flying blind anymore. You can really
Sure.
understand who's using your product, how they're using, which features they're using. So you can always identify where is the value being delivered and what are the gaps, and drive decision based on that. So that was the core thinking. And we actually started with proc instrumentation technology, where we collect usage data through JavaScript or APIs and so forth to actually build up a whole data-driven profile of the users and the companies that they work for. And from that point onward. So we thought that the challenge is better understanding your customers to deliver value, but the advantage, the opportunity in the transition to cloud, that it's all connected. And everything that customers do, the company can actually see, right? If you properly instrument that, and
Sure.
then you can make decisions based on that. So that was the core principle and the idea, which is still true to this day.
Now, as you build that exact thing out, and I'm just trying to reiterate on that, you're saying companies are moving to the cloud. Therefore, a lot of the data that they're collecting, if before it was on premise, now it's a little bit more accessible. Still, they may not be aware that they can then leverage this data in house to create teams to analyze this data, synthesize it, and come up with actionable items. And therefore, there's a gap in the market where you can build a solution that takes in this data, even helps them collect it, and provides them with actionable insights, right? This was sort of the thesis of where the market
Yeah.
is at.
Yes, and I think very quickly we realized that the path of attack to this market, the go-to-market, is through the revenue and not through the workflow and the capabilities, right? Because everyone that runs today, it's like a no-brainer. Everyone that runs a recurring revenue or recurring revenue
Sure.
model knows that you have like run revenue stream, which is the new customers, and then you got the retention of how much have you been able to keep, and then the expansion, right? So you basically get three components of revenue, and two of them are being addressed by Totango and customer success, retaining customers and then growing existing customers, what is now known as net revenue retention, where you actually
Sure.
measure out of the customer base at the end of the period, how much did you grow or shrink, right? And companies that shrink, it's a leaky bucket, and companies that actually take the existing customers to grow the value for them, they are very good businesses because they're not only growing by spending marketing dollars and sales dollars on new business, they can actually work with their customers, drive more value, sell them more, depending on the model, more capacity or more products and so forth and so forth. So that was so it was a very kind of a business conversation that you could have had. And now where the market is right now, it shifted into, okay, so how do I start? What do I do first? And
Right.
how should I think about this? This is where we are right now. So if, to your point, a decade ago was, what are you talking about? What is it? Why are you calling me to,
Sure.
where do we start, and what to do first, and where to get value from? So, So it was obvious that this is going to happen. Clearly as we would have wanted this to happen faster, but we're very grateful that it actually happened, and we were in the right. We had the solution in the market, right point in time, to be able to take advantage of the market transformation.
I mean, I think that's at the end, exactly why I love doing this show. It's about these ideas that emerge out of some understanding of what's happening in the market, taking this leap of faith, working for years. And what it sounds to me like you're saying is that, perhaps the timing um, could have been a little bit more on point and solidified, but perhaps not. And perhaps this is exactly how things should have played out. And I think it's at the end, what counts is obviously this idea that the market is ready. Everybody's talking about customer success, and you're positioned as a market leader to win this. And this is because you've also gained this understanding over a series of years. If we're fast forwarding to today, though, you have thousands of customers, the biggest companies in the world, the most customer centric companies in the world. You're no longer a startup; it's a company. And how do you manage, working with thousands of clients, each of them unique, each of them thinking through their customers in a different way, each of them want their own differentiation? How do you even cope with that as a company, as a service company?
Yeah, as a technology company, but
As a technology
I mean,
company, of course.
no, you're actually making a very good point. Software as a service. Are you a software company or a services company, and
Sure.
so forth? And we chose to be a software company, right? Like 100%. Our gross margin is close to 80%, which means that we barely sell services, right? And what you're making a very good point, because every company is different, and selling a business solution to a company that talks about their relationship with their customers is tricky. And the way we chose to do it is to basically provide, a higher level of abstraction around the concept of customer journey, right? So although every company is different, every company, once it sells its customers, wants to onboard it quickly on their
Sure.
platform. And then they want to make sure that they're getting value by looking at product adoption, and then they want to detect risks ahead of time and take action on that, and they want to maximize renewal. So we've created this new concept called um, um, modularity around customer success, where we have modules, we call them success blocks, that allows companies to start in one point in time, right, on their journey. Secondly, we've built on those success blocks. We've added a lot of best practices and templates and things that allow people to get started very, very quickly. So think about them as best practices and examples where companies can actually learn from what others have been doing and then customize this to their need very, very quickly. And the last point we chose to roll this out in a self-service model. Right, so Totango is as of 2020, we are a self-service business with freemium business models, and we are basically solving the learning gap where people need to understand what it is, how to get started, and so forth, by giving free access to all of that, all the platform and the technology and the success blocks for people to quickly learn. And then once they learn, we can have a much more meaningful conversation, in which in many cases customers already know what is common, right? What's best practices industry, and what is the customization they need to do to their business. And obviously, we will help them to do that as well. But I think it's I've been an architect before, so this is like where do you put the abstraction? Is the abstraction the functions, the tooling, or the abstraction is the outcome? And all of that
Sure.
together, we are, calling this, we kind of announcing this concept of composable customer success. So to solve the challenge of where to get started, you need composable customer success that allows you to get day one value, allows you to continuously recalibrate your processes, and ensures, and that's our commitment, predictable growth. That's the motivation. I think this is where the market is right now. If we kind of dive a little bit deeper, but the way to solve it is to simplify, right? To make it very accessible. One of the things that we've been talking a lot, we don't want customers to learn our language. we should operate in the business language, right? So all the objects in Totango, all the language is business language and not, customer success language, because they will learn
Sure.
customer success over time, but we don't want
Sure.
them to be forced to do it because it slows down sales.
And so what you're saying is that if you're looking at this pyramid, where the top of the pyramid is sort of this very fine-tuned customer success journey for your own company, what you've realized is that in order for anybody to get there, first you need to have this common foundation, this common base, these big building blocks of customer journey steps. And you're first allowing companies to make sure that they're harnessing those steps and they have visibility into what's happening in those journeys. And then through composability and modularity, you're allowing them to customize, okay, how do I want my customer success journey to look like? And how do I analyze it, and how do I make sure that it's working properly, right?
Yeah, I think when we look at our market's options, right, customer options, you got
Yeah,
companies that come up with their own, like a big bang model. And that's
sure.
a challenge because they need to adapt their business to this structure.
Yep,
It may work, but it takes a very long time, requires constant consulting and services and so forth. The other
sure.
approach is you have like just point solutions, right? So,
Yep,
so the customer needs to continuously integrate between solutions. And there's the other approach where we build our product as composable. So you got modules and they're pre-integrated. They're built on the same data model, the same
yep,
workflow model, and so forth. And and we did this not just because it's a good architecture concept. It's also because we wanted to reduce the barrier to entry for a company any size in customer success. So if your only problem right now, as you see it, is onboarding new customers, okay, let's just focus on onboarding first. If your only problem is driving adoption, let's focus just on driving adoption to your product. We don't force companies to make big decisions. And by the way, when companies become bigger, they're not necessarily managing the entire journey in one team, right? So you have services team that's doing onboarding, and you got renewal team, which is part of the sales, and they're reporting to the CRO, while the customer success team reports to the chief customer officer, and so forth. So this flexibility allows for companies to kind of reduces barriers for companies to adopt, to get started and then learn that actually customer success is about the customer and about the journey. So it's not about the function. It's actually a consistent, predictable, good user experience, and so forth. But when you are a technology company like ours, you got to be practical. It's not enough that
mm,
the concept is good and
yep,
true. You actually need to sell technology to someone. So you got to make it
yep,
super practical to wrap their heads around it, get started, see immediate value, get
sure.
recognized by their company, get recognized by their customers, and then take another step from there.
Has this world, or the thinking process behind your own customer journey thesis, has this evolved much in the last few years? I mean, as you're building the foundation blocks for what it means to monitor customer success journeys or design them, has your sort of thesis shifted in one way or another?
Yes, and the main reason is, I mean, I can give you a story, right? So we built this concept called Success Block Marketplace. Now it's renamed to Journey Marketplace, in which we published all the known customer success blocks, right? That we've created. And but the issue was when you would ask people around our company, like people from the onboarding team or the customer success team or even product team, so what is renewal to you? What needs to happen in renewal? You get like 5 different answers. One is going to focus on the automation of renewal. One is focused on
Sure.
the predictability of renewal. One is about the
Yep.
forecasting on renewal. So it was clear that you got to create like a common language first and foremost, right? We call this Success Block Master. It's like an internal document in which we can write specifically who should use it, what should be the expected outcome, what are the metrics, and so forth and so forth. So what I learned is, and that was always like the challenge in our market, that customer success is many things to many people. And it makes it, I mean, the outcome is good. Everyone wants to retain customers and to grow their customer base and to, and have all users as facts, right? That's the ultimate outcome of that. And there's the financial outcome of that and so forth. what does it mean, how to do it, and so forth. There's so many flavors that we had to kind of create at least a common language. I'm not even saying standardizing, because everyone can choose, a flavor that is best for their model and their business. Some companies, their product is super sticky. So, it's not about retention. It's about maximizing expansion. Some companies, their product is in a highly competitive market and it's a really inexpensive product. Like, how many how many design tools are used in every company? In our company, I think we've got like at least 15 different design tools that someone is paying license for, and at some point, someone is going to try to consolidate, and 14 of them are going to, you know, um, get out of our business. So,
Yeah.
so the point being, there's different challenges to different business models. Um, but you asked how things have changed. Is me to realize that if we are not specifying in a more easy language to understand what is it that you're trying to do and how you do it, it becomes very tricky for people to communicate. So even the customer success communication language and is a very important thing. So I had my own version. I thought that's the right version. So
I love it, Guy. There's so many more questions are coming up, but unfortunately, it is 20-minute leaders. But definitely, my curiosity was sparked, and so I really I appreciate your time and this amazing journey. And looking back, I'm trying to look back at how you were thinking 10, 12 years ago, how you were thinking about customer success, and you're thinking about the movement to the cloud and the transition to data-driven decisions and the ability to automate things and have them then be modular and composable and customizable. And ultimately gaining the trust of thousands of brands to trust you to help them understand their customers better and the customer journeys better. And I think that it speaks for itself. And so thank you very much for the time and the inspiration. Best of luck with the rest of the hopefully long journey of Totango, and stay safe and stay healthy.
thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.